It is 2 in the morning and you are on day 14. Your period was 3 weeks late. And then when it finally came, it didn't stop. It hasn't stopped. So you're right now sitting up in your bed with your phone, scrolling through the different forum threads that you can find, trying to work out whether what's happening to your body right now is just perimenopause being perimenopause, or whether you need to be at the doctor's office tomorrow morning. Now, some of what you're experiencing is completely normal for this season, and some of it may not be normal. By the end of this video, you will know what is normal and not normal, what is actually happening in your body, and what you can start to track right after this video so that you can walk into your next doctor's visit knowing exactly what to say. Now, period changes in perimenopause is absolutely normal. It's expected that it could start to come earlier or may start to come later, or it's heavier than periods that you've had in the past, or you're seeing that the cycle length is shortened. So you might have 2 periods in 3 weeks. Now, why it becomes so noticeable in this season is because if you've had a regular period throughout your life, then you know exactly what's coming, right? Every 4 weeks, 28 days, you know that you will have a period. And that's a pattern that you're used to. However, you may be in your late 30s or in your 40s and 50s, and you suddenly find that your period has changed. The length has changed from maybe 21 days or 24 days, or you're finding that it's heavier. These are absolutely normal in perimenopause. This is your body changing, going through its transition, and these are expected transitions in perimenopause. Now, there are some things that are unexpected about perimenopause and period. And I remember the story about the woman in the Bible who bled for 12 years before she found some help. Now, everybody can agree that this is unusual. You don't have to be a person of faith to feel the gravity of having to bleed continuously for 12 years. And for this woman, the not knowing and spending everything that she had was a significant impact to her. I will come back to talking about her later on in this video. If you are a woman in your late 30s, in your 40s or your 50s, and you are trying to make sense of what is going on in your body without a doctor talking at you, then this channel is for you. I encourage you to subscribe so that you can see what videos we have when next they drop. So what is happening with our periods in perimenopause? In our reproductive years, the ovaries will typically release an egg round about once a month. And there are hormones that support that release, and they will follow a predictable pattern. Now, in perimenopause, that pattern becomes irregular because the ovaries are running out of follicles, and the follicles are the structures that release the eggs. Now, of course, there's still hormonal impacts related to this. And we know that estrogen in this season, it is swinging. And in some months, your estrogen may spike higher than perhaps before. And when it spikes that way, you might find that your bleeding becomes heavier, i.e. your period becomes heavier. And there could be some months where estrogen crashes, and it's in those seasons or times that you may skip a period entirely. In addition to the estrogen, there is progesterone, which is the calming hormone, and it's the hormone that thins the lining of our uterus and keeps our cycle on a regular pattern. Well, progesterone, it drops earlier and faster than estrogen. So the combination of these hormones declining or fluctuating or swinging is what has an impact on making our periods so unpredictable in this season. This phase can last anything from 2 to 10 years, although the average can be anything from 4 to 7. So what do normal periods look like in perimenopause? It could look like your cycles getting shorter, so 21 to 24 days. That is sort of common. Conversely, it might look like your cycles are getting longer, so 40, 50, maybe even 60 days between your periods. For some people, they experience that they're skipping their periods entirely, sometimes for months, and then the period returns. For some others, it could be heavier flow than you're used to. And of course, conversely, it could be lighter flow than you're used to. You may experience spotting between your periods, or you might find that you have 2 periods in close succession. And there could also be times when the period is lasting a day or 2 longer than they normally used to. Now, these are normal signs of perimenopause with the patterns changing. So these are normal in the context of what happens to your period. However, there are things that are not normal. And I want to say this clearly. If you see these signs, please have a conversation with your doctor, because these can be signs of significant issues. One of those things that may show up is soaking through a regular pad or a tampon every hour for several hours in a row. That is not normal. Please have that checked out. Bleeding that lasts more than 7 days consistently. That's not normal. That is excessive bleeding. Bleeding that's so heavy that you're passing clots that are larger than the size of a coin. That's also not normal. Bleeding after sex, that's not normal. Please have that looked at. And any bleeding that you experience after you've gone a full 12 months without actually seeing a period, that could look like postmenopausal bleeding, and you need to have a doctor look at that for you. Severe pain that is new or different from anything you've had before. Now, these are all signs, and they all, especially when you think about heavy bleeding in perimenopause, this is one of the common reasons that women may end up anemic in this season. It is treatable, but if you see these signs, I'm not trying to alarm you, but I'm trying to keep you informed so that you can have a conversation with your doctor, whether that's your family doctor, but also preferably your OBGYN or a perimenopause specialist. You need to be able to explain to them what is going on in your body in this season. I believe that the single most useful thing you can do before going into a doctor's appointment is to track exactly what has been showing up. Because the truth of the matter is, many doctors will give you 5-15 minutes to talk about your issues. So if you walk into that meeting prepared with weeks, days, months of data, you're able to have an effective, direct conversation that can help you. So what sorts of things can you track? You want to track your cycle length, so when the period started to the first day of the next period, your flow heaviness, if you're experiencing any spotting in between your period, and how you're feeling physically and emotionally every day. And it's this gathering of information and tracking what's going on is part of the reason why we built Sozo. Sozo is our app for women in this perimenopausal season. It is a Greek word which means saved, healed, and made whole. And it actually comes from the story of the woman I spoke about earlier who bled for 12 years and found help after she reached out to Jesus. And I'm hoping, and my aim through development of the Sozo app is to give you one means or a means of tracking what's going on. It doesn't replace your doctor, it doesn't provide a diagnosis, it's just a way for you to gather the information about what's going on in your body. The link is below if you'd like to take a look. Now, I believe that one of the hardest part of period changes or dealing with period changes in perimenopause is not the inconvenience or the laundry if you're having heavy periods or whatever. It's more the fact that this body that you've known for so many years that had a stable pattern that you knew about. You know, you could plan around your life, you knew when your period was coming, you knew what to expect. And suddenly in this season, you're no longer able to predict what's going to happen with your body. And so, you know, some women may experience or even describe experiencing grief as they mourn the end of one season and getting into another season. For some other women, they might just feel relief, right? It's just relief that the period is coming to an end and they're just pleased that they're moving into their next season. There's no right or wrong about what we're feeling in this season. It's simply that we understand what's happening in our bodies. And as we're understanding what's happening in our bodies, is giving us the space, the grace, and the faith to hold this body together. When I think about that woman with the issue of blood, for her, she needed relief, she needed help. She didn't have certainty that she would get that help, but she tried, and she tried by reaching out to get some help. And this, I believe, is what this season is asking for us, that we continue to reach out to find information, to get help, to stay connected in community, to track what's showing up so that we have the information and the language about what's going on in our bodies so that we can help ourselves. And beyond just helping ourselves, so that we can also help others who are going through this and share what we know. Our bodies are changing in this season, and the body that carried us through our earlier years, through puberty, through young adulthood, through motherhood, if we've experienced motherhood, is also carrying us through this next season. And we need the same grace, maybe even more grace, for this body in this season. And as I close this video today, I would love, absolutely love to hear from you. So I'd ask for you to tell me in the comments, when did you first notice that your periods were changing? And what was the moment that you suddenly realized that this is not a one-off, that this is a significant life change? Please comment, I would love to hear.